Hi everyone, Mike Shorts here, bringing you my first Captain America the Winter Soldier action figure review. Today we're going to be taking a look at one of Hasbro's 3.75 inch scale figures from the new film. And as you can see, this is the Grapple Cannon Captain America figure, which comes with a shield accessory and a grapple cannon accessory. I got this figure from my local John Lewis store quite recently for £9.99. Now the packaging for this figure is very similar to that of the other figures in this wave. At the top of the front we can see a picture of Chris Evans in his new Captain America costume for the film, along with the Captain America the Winter Soldier logo. Then below that we can see the figure and its accessories in a clear plastic bubble, along with the card at the bottom showing the name of the figure. On the side we can see some pictures which show you how to attach the grapple launcher to the helmet toy for Captain America. Then on the back we can see another picture of the figure along with the same usual product and government information. That's it for the packaging. Not much I can really say about it, but I do quite like it. And now it's time to take a closer look at the figure. Okay, so here we have the grapple launcher Captain America. Now, like the Red Skull and Winter Soldier figures, which are also in this wave, this is a completely new figure that we have never seen before. Like the Avengers Captain America figures, this one does come with two accessories, which include his shield and a missile launcher accessory. As you can see, the shield that this Captain America figure comes with isn't the usual red, silver and blue one which he has used since the first movie. It is a new shield which he will be using in the film, which instead of being red, silver and blue is just blue and silver. The costume this particular figure is wearing is a new costume as well. It appears to be based on the Commander Rogers costume from the comics, and I'm not sure if he's going to be wearing this for most of the film. He does wear it in quite a few parts of the first trailer, but he does also wear a costume which is quite similar to the one he wore in the first movie as well. But I'm pretty happy that they've made a figure of him in this costume. I think it's a really nice costume, so it's nice to see it in action figure form. I believe this is also the second Marvel Cinematic Universe Captain America figure that doesn't come with a helmet. I think it's really nice that Hasbro have given us another figure of him without the helmet. The first one was in the Avengers concept series line, and that was a variant. It was a variant of this particular figure here, and I spent absolutely ages looking for that variant, but I never actually managed to find it here in the UK, so I'm really glad that I've got this one. As usual, we're going to start by taking a look at the head sculpt. I think the head sculpt for this figure is okay. It doesn't look as much like Chris Evans as some of the previous Marvel Cinematic Universe Captain America figures, so I'm not 100% happy with it. But I think the paintwork on it came out pretty well. The eyes look really nice. I love the dark blue they've used for them, and I like the little black line they've put on the top of them. I like his facial expression as well. Seems to be giving a bit of a frown. The hair has turned out really nice as well. You can see quite a few shades of brown amongst it. Well, it is meant to be blonde really, but most of it's been sculpted pretty well. The ears look pretty nice. You can see that a bit of paint from the hair has slipped onto his left ear there, which is a little bit annoying, but that's probably just a little quality control thing with my figure really. It's not really a huge issue for me. So yeah, not a bad head sculpt, but not as good as it could have been. Moving on to his chest now, this part of the figure has got some really nice detail, including a lot of features from the Commander Rogers costume, like the silver star in the middle of the chest, which has some really nice metallic stripes near it. It's also got these two brown straps which come together at the back here, and these have also been given a couple of very carefully painted buckles. Also on this part of the figure we can see some really nice lines in the fabric. There's quite a lot of it in the middle of the chest here. He's also got his little brown gloves which have been painted with the same shade of brown as the straps and this little utility belt down here. In some of the promotional pictures the gloves do have little black parts on them, but I think they are just fine the way they are, and they are pretty small as well, so I can imagine those would have been quite difficult to paint onto them. On the packaging for this figure, he does also have a American flag on this arm, but like with the black parts for the gloves, I think that would have been really hard to paint onto the figure. So it is still really nice, even if it hasn't got all the detail that it has got in the film. Moving on to the legs now, we can see that these have been painted with the same relatively dark blue as the chest. These have also got some really nice detail. You can see some little features of the design and plenty of creases on them as well. And he's got the knee pads down here and the red stripes as well. There's one on each leg. The boots are pretty nice as well. They've been painted with the same shade of brown as the utility belt as well. You can see lots of straps on them and some laces at the bottom and the treads as well. So from head to toe, like many of the previous Marvel Cinematic Universe Captain America figures, the Grapple Cannon Captain America figure is a really nicely detailed figure with some really nice paintwork. I really like the sculpt for this figure. It's got pretty much all the detail that I'd expect to see for a figure of Captain America from the film. I would have liked it a bit more if Hasbro went with a darker blue for the costume though, as even though the blue that they've used for this figure is quite dark, I wouldn't say it's as dark as it actually is in the film. But that doesn't really take much away from the figure to me. It's still really good for the fact that it's got loads of features from the Commander Rogers costume and lots of detail that we have seen on the costume in the trailers and the promotional pictures as well. As I said before, would have liked the head sculpt a bit more if it did have a better likeness to Chris Evans as well. But yeah, still quite a nice figure. Moving on to his articulation now. His head can do a full 360-degree turn, and because it's on a ball joint, it can move up and down a little bit as well. His arms are also on ball joints, so they can go inwards and outwards as well. They can also do a full 360-degree turn from the shoulders, and they can turn 360 degrees at the elbows as well, and they can bend up and down from here as well. Sadly, he doesn't have any wrist articulation, nor does he have any waist articulation, but his legs can still go backwards and forwards from the waist. They can also go outwards and inwards like so. They can do a full 360-degree turn at the thighs. They can also do the same at the knees, and they can also bend at the knees as well. So the articulation for this Captain America figure is pretty much the same articulation we got with the Avengers figures. It's not too bad, but it's not as good as it could have been. I would have liked the articulation a bit more on this figure if he had some wrist joints and perhaps a joint at the waist as well. You can still get him into some quite good poses with his accessories or just by himself though. But yeah, it definitely could have been better if he had some more joints. Okay, that's it for the articulation, and now it's time for me to give a summary of my thoughts on this figure. I think the Grapple Cannon Captain America figure is okay. This isn't one of the best Captain America figures out there in my opinion, but it's definitely not one of the worst. It's got a pretty nice sculpt which has some really nice detail, especially on the costume, which I think Hasbro have done a brilliant job with. I really like the paintwork on this figure as well, not got many problems with that, and I think the articulation is pretty good as well. But if I was to give this figure a rating out of 10, I'd say I'd give it a 7 out of 10. And the reason why I'm giving it a 7 out of 10 is because I think the head sculpt could have looked a bit more like Chris Evans, and I think it could have had a bit more articulation as well. I really would have liked to have seen some wrist joints on this figure. But with those problems aside, I still think this is a pretty nice figure, and I'd definitely recommend it to you if you want a figure of him from the new movie. Okay, that's pretty much it for Captain America, but this review is not over yet because now we're going to take a look at his accessories. Okay, so here we have the shield for this Captain America figure. Now this is pretty much a repainted version of the Avengers movie series Captain America figure shield. Exactly the same sculpt, just with different colours. As you can see, this one is simply blue and silver, whereas the other one is red, silver and blue like it usually is for Captain America. This is a shield which he will be using in the film. Not sure if he'll use it in Avengers Age of Ultron, but I do quite like it. It's got some really nice detail on it, all the same bits of detail that we saw with the Avengers Captain America figure shield, like the lines on the star here and the screws on the sides as well, and some nice metallic paint for the colour bands as well. On the back of it here we can see some handles which help the figure to hold this shield really nicely. There's also lots of screws on these parts of it as well. Really nice accessory, great sculpt, great paintwork, and if I was to give it a rating out of 5, I'd quite happily give it a 5 out of 5. And then finally, here we have the grapple launcher accessory. Now this is pretty much just a big missile launcher accessory. It's very similar to the ones that we saw with the Avengers figures back in 2012. Now even though I have got the figure holding it quite well here, he doesn't want to stand up with it, and every time I have gotten to hold it, he just falls over, and he just doesn't want to stand up with it at all. It's an okay accessory. It's quite good for the young collectors of the line who may like stuff like this.
when I was younger and I was collecting stuff like this, I was never really interested in this kind of thing, but I still think it's okay. It is pretty nicely detailed and it has got some good paintwork on it, and the missile on it has got this sort of suction cup like thing on it, so if you launch it at something quite close to it, it will stick to it, and that is quite imaginative. That's not something I think we've seen with any of the previous Marvel movie missile launcher accessories before. If I was to give it a rating out of 5, I'd probably give it a 3 or a 4 out of 5. It's an okay accessory, but the figure just doesn't hold it very well, and I would have been happier with the figure if it just came with a gun that Captain America used from the film instead of this.
And that is pretty much it for my review of the Grapple Cannon Captain America figure from Captain America the Winter Soldier. I hope you've all enjoyed watching this review. My next Captain America figure review will be of the Air Raid Red Skull. If you want to share your thoughts on this figure, feel free to do so in the comment section below, or maybe in a video response. Thanks for watching this review, guys, and I will see you again soon.